Hi, this is Junaid, neurocritical care stroke and epilepsy specialist, and we're going to continue talking about ideas 2023. We talked about in the last lecture autonomous ride hailing, and this is directly correlating with autonomous logistics. So logistics is what a big part of it. We can autonomize it. It can really be very, very impactful for our industry. And again, of course, AI is at the helm of it. And again, you guys as students need to realize that how the world will look like in the next 10 years, maybe 20 years or 30 years. But it is coming, as we have seen that the AI is exploding. This season is about chat GPT, large language models, but the next season will be something else. We are making progress. And then there is what we call from the NVIDIA's founder, we are in the iPhone moment of artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, and if you want to learn more about it, just put it in the comments. What are large language models? How it impacts medicine, etc. And then I can work on those particular lectures as well for the future. Autonomous logistics. This is one of the key things. Basically, what they're talking about, how you're going to reshape the whole global supply chain. And it is a big issue right now. If you look at how the geopolitics is going on in terms of lithium, in terms of chips, we're talking about China and US and literally everything else in between, including the new army base at Philippines, are all correlated. The global supply chain, which was initially disrupted by COVID-19, is roaring back, but not in the same exact form that was pre-COVID. There are significant changes that have been made, and more so, we need to figure out why. Over here, of course, when you're talking about the global supply chain, we're looking at more so what you're talking about, including trucks, drones, and robots, and how autonomous trucks, autonomous drones, and autonomous robots are going to be able to be part of the global supply chain in country. The global supply chain is huge, right? I mean, it starts from one continent to another country to another city, so it goes from literally continent level to city, country level to city level to street level, etc. So there is a lot of components that go through that. And then we're going to go through that ARC estimates that autonomous logistics revenue could scale nearly zero today, because there's not really anything going on, to $1 to $2 trillion by 2023, and this is going to be huge. And some of this data is mind-boggling. But some of the consumer habits, which we talked about, digital consumers, and if you haven't looked at it, just make sure digital consumers, digital wallet, you're going to see that how this can be really scaled very quickly. Autonomous vehicles that roll and fly could lower costs across the supply chain. And I think that most people will say, well, really, where are the autonomous deliveries? Actually, right now in um, Nigeria, I believe, or Senegal, there's one African country in which medications are being delivered by drones at the moment. This is not some far-fetched idea. This is actually currently being deployed as we speak. So truck delivery cost is per ton mile. If you have autonomy, then it's going to go from 0.07 to 0.03. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of savings. But this is where the real benefit comes in. Local batch delivery cost. This is where your local Walmart is getting delivery from a distribution center and then, of course, delivering to the consumer. This is the local batch delivery. So it's mainly dependent on how Walmart distribution centers or Target distribution centers or large distribution centers work. This is going to be significantly huge, because once a huge naval ship, whatever, like cargo ships, are going to bring that into a one distribution center to send it as a batch to different local delivery systems is going to make a huge impact. And everyone does that, right? I mean, it is as simple as Target getting their new shipments, which is again acts as a distribution center at times. But more importantly, McDonald's get burgers, fries, patties, etc., from different distribution centers, Burger King, etc. So the whole supply chain, especially for the franchise systems, depend on this local batch delivery. And the minute you have from human delivery, you're going to go into integrated traffic robots, you're going to be huge change. And this is going to be at least 6.5 in terms of lowering the cost. Again, very, very important. And same thing, if you're going to go ahead and look at the small item delivery cost, and this is your iPhone, this is your Tylenol, this is your basic stuff that comes in, you can actually decrease the cost per trip by 22 times. And this is where drones are going to come in. Because we're going to have high-end medications that can be deployed quickly, and therefore they're going to be center repository rather than using those stockpiles, and then those stockpiles expire, and therefore the cost is much higher overall. So this is definitely, this is called app delivery. I'm also looking at not just app delivery, I'm looking at especially in healthcare. You're going to be able to save a lot of money because you don't have to keep stockpiles of less used medication, but very important critical medications that are more expensive. So we're going to continue to see that as we go along in the future. Autonomous ride hailing, we talked about it last time. Robots and drones should be the greater impact in countries with higher delivery fees. Now, clearly, I mean, in countries like Pakistan, India, where their labor is cheap. I mean, interestingly, China is not cheap labor, by the way. If anyone thinks that, that's bullshit. As a matter of fact, you're going to see Chinese adopting these robotics in delivery faster than any other country. And believe it or not, they will have cost savings too. Anyways, countries like France, Canada, US, where there is extremely high delivery costs, you're going to see a significant impact of these, things. And food delivery fees. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, I have stopped really doing cooking at home, right? I mean, I tell my wife also stop cooking at home because she normally cooks it for the kids. The kids' dietary requirements are different, so that's different. But at the end of the day, it's such a huge waste of time. I mean, buying groceries, cleaning groceries, cooking, everything. If somebody can actually deliver it hot, reasonably amount of time, we will stop completely. This is why, DoorDash and Uber Eats, and that's what we have been using, DoorDash, Amazon Whole Foods. We don't have delivery here, but literally, it is so important to us that we get it delivered to my mom's and then pick it up. So it is, Walmart is bread and butter, parcel of our delivery system here in my house, period. So you're going to see that this is going to be huge impact in terms of food delivery as we go along. Real-time autonomous delivery could generate 1 to 2 trillion addressable market at least. I think this could be probably more. Again, the issue really over here is because this is not a global market, right? At the end of the day, China, India, Philippines, these countries will have less impact because overall drones can be more expensive. Energy prices are more expensive in those countries. So therefore, overall, they do not make a massive impact. And there's, of course, people who do so. So the labor is cheap. But as we go along into that market, we're going to see significant improvement going from. So first, we're going to have a 24.5 billion parcel and food delivery market, and then we're going to move on incrementally to consumer value time, because there are people who would say, you know what, I mean, that's how I actually sometimes make decisions. I just value my time at $100 an hour, which is really low. But anyways, if I do that, any decision that is going to take more than that money, I do it. If there's less than that money, then I hire someone. It's that simple. That's where I value time, and therefore I would pay for it. And therefore, these are people who actually use private jets as well, because then they value time more, because there's a private jet market. For what reason? I can't do that. But those are people who will value their time $3,000 per hour, and they're going to say, okay, well, private jet makes sense. So these are going to be, as you go along the value chain, eventually then the technology becomes cheaper and cheaper, and then you're going to get into this, more of an addressable market by 2033. 2030, sorry, to 2030. Anyways, so meal and parcel don't really be larger opportunity than the initial estimates, and I truly agree with that. I mean, you will not believe that how important this is becoming, and how fast change it happened within the last 2 years because of the advent of DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and I think Postman or something. Anyways, there are 5 different delivery services here in the United States, but if you look at it, there are people in Karachi that tell me that they are actually ordering over their application much faster, and they would rather do so because, I don't know, environment outside, pollution, etc. They're rather off, sitting in their own houses and enjoying the meal while popping on their movie, as compared to going out and eat. So believe it or not, this is now part and parcel of a reality today rather than anything else. So parcel delivery and food delivery, drone delivery is going to be in billions, and therefore, again, as minute this autonomy comes in, this is going to be significant opportunity. Online accounts currently is only 6%, and if you look at China, which is highly digitalized, it's about 23%. If you look at India, it's only 1%. But believe it or not, that would be a significant volume as compared to this. US is around 10%. And we're going to see that this is going to continue to increase globally. Again, this farm to table movement is not that high, but we are seeing a lot of new vertical farms generating. So things like cherries, cilantro, etc. All of this is going to be farm to table movement is going to take care of this e-commerce and e-delivery, and it's going to expand significantly in the future as well. Robotic grocery delivery will generate around 40 billion in fees by 2030. Absolutely. I think this is a massive market. As I said, we talked about it, and this is interesting. 26% CAGR. Um, I totally agree. I just want to open up minds here in US. If anyone's building an app, this is a good opportunity. Parcel drones are likely to generate more than 70 billions in fees by 2030. This is the parcel portion. Food will be first, absolutely. And then parcel. Again, things that are extinguishable, expirable, are going to be more prone to being delivered autonomously through drones or any other because they're already having a significant high pricing for delivery and there's a time dependency on it. Those parcels which will have time dependency on it, medications, very high items that can be stolen, like cell phones, tablets, those with lower weight but high, pricing are going to be first introduced. And the minute that goes in, this is going to be a huge market. From 2027, they're talking about 300 billion, and by 2030, they're going to talking about 500 billion. Totally agree with that. Autonomous trucks should become more cost effective than rail by 2030. And uh, so Tesla semi truck, I don't know, some people are known for it. Pepsi is already using it. Well, let's be honest. Pepsi used it because they got a grant from the government, right? They had a process in which they were able to get government money. But anyways, aside that, you what they have been able to show is that first it is feasible, second it is usable, third they are actually increasing their fleet, and fourth they're increasing more and more people on it. And as the routes become easy, as the routes are becoming more and more data is being solidified, then the driver can be removed. And it could be just what we call a drone driver for those trucks. And the minute that switch happens, the minute that you are actually, the trucks are being all like a fleet of trucks are being controlled by, or 3 or 4 trucks are being controlled by a joystick in a command center, the minute that happens, this is going to be truly, truly amazing. And again, we are collecting data all day. We are collecting literally where the pots are on the road, let alone anything. So we are doing this, and we are seeing that this will have a major impact on our society as a whole, and unfortunately, a major shift in terms of job market as well. Autonomous trucks could strand rail assets, and this is again very true. Railway systems, I really thought railway was the amazing and the pinnacle of it because of a decrease in carbon footprint. But these new systems with electricity, autonomy, I think you should expand, freeways and roads better, and forget about railway. For only one thing, honestly, the railways will be important for, I think, transporting oil, crude oil or petroleum, which again is going to decrease in demand as we go along. Uh, this is where specifically China comes in. A lot of them, China has a lot of infrastructure in railway, but it still makes sense to them because there are a billion people, and you have to move billion people, not just billion people, but you have to move goods and services for a billion people. But as we go along to the value chain, it is going to continue to decrease, and the rail assets are going to continue to decline. Global autonomous delivery could total 1 to 2 trillion. Again, they are repeating the before that, how the robots and drones and everything are going to come into. In the next lecture, we're going to talk about robotics and 3D printing. Again, thank you so much for your time.